related to manuscripts, and Olga will because refer in this upcoming use case a little bit more to the humanities and what inseri brings to the humanities. Olga.
Thank you, Jan. I will share my screen. So maybe bigger. This presentation is written from, let's say, a scholar point of view, not from a technician point of view. And my initial input was corrected and commented upon by Hans Kuhl and Jan Clemens Stoffregen. To economize the time, I will read it aloud. It should take around 13 minutes.
Olga, you didn't share the screen.
Oh, sorry. Yes. Just a second.
No, it's fine.
Yeah. So, inseri framework has the potential to allow the project in humanities creating their own web application environments, and that is without forcing the scholars into hard coding. It provides a workflow consisting of some defined steps, allowing to realize an academic project from beginning to end, from primary source upload to various kind of analysis to digital or usual way of publication. Compared to the traditional method of organization of academic workflow in humanities, the inseri framework has the option of control and precise overview of every single step of process because it keeps all data in one place, documenting what has been imported and what is a real discovery. And thus it leads, in my mind, to more clarity and better protection of the data. Inseri framework is a perfect place for collaborative research projects, where the groups can work on the same data and the final project data can be easily reused by other academic projects. Inseri can help to make the transition to the new paradigm in humanities, bringing the discipline, let's dream a little bit, to the level of precision and openness to the collaboration as seen in physics and biology, allowing a research project results influence the disciplines and general ontologies. That is, if semantic web is integrated. And thus, inseri creates a missing link between the humanities and the cutting-edge IT and the knowledge management system development. So how do we arrive there? Let's see the traditional workflow in humanities. So scholar, very often alone in front of his desktop or screen, goes through text from 1 to n. And the input of the research, which is text, is not very much different to the output of the research, which is just another text. If research is supported by IT, then both input and output become much more richer. So as for input, as you have seen with inseri, you can easily include databases, various blogs, IIIFs. You can have support on automatized text analysis, assisted tagging, or maybe automatized publication layouts, for example, with TI Publisher. Output, of course, is much richer. It goes well beyond the published on paper book. It can be neat text and XML, classical publication, of course, ebook, project web page, which is interactive, project database, and also each project supported by IT also contributes to the IT development. So what is inseri in this context? Inseri is organized in an innovative way, oriented towards working with online resources within a single platform. And it integrates various kinds of those resources with ease, IIIF, Sparkle queries to RDF. And thus it is made to bring the project directly into the context of linked data. There is little or no copy-paste, download, re-upload, reformatting, and printing out, which would be usual workflow in humanities. But this, let me put it, dead-end structure is replaced by queries done live. The users can access all their project data in one place, be this ebooks or scanned manuscript pages, and comment on them. This is also the best approach to data traceability, allowing to resolve any potential legal issue. Inseri is an open framework which project can join and leave anytime they wish, actually. It's really free. The results, data codes are valorized and conceived as reusable between all participating in future projects, for example, via published pages and templates. The choices made by inseri team tend towards independence from any commercial or proprietary software, yet they secure the possibility to integrate virtually any data format. The projects who use inseri remain masters of their data at any stage. They have the last say on their choice of application, software, data formats, and they can change their wishes in the process. So how does inseri can change the way people do digital humanities? Here I would need to bring again one more generality, but let me do it. To demonstrate the data flow and reuse in humanities, the following two pictures were prepared. The first one is traditional data flow, humanities approach to IT. And second is data flow within NIE-INE project. In the traditional mode, the final product of scientific work is not very different by its very nature from the original input, that is text source. The whole palette of created facilitators of the work, such as various databases, indexes, ontologies, IT solutions, just does not make it to the final product, that is a paper publication. And these aspects can only exist if the contribution is expected from the project at this level also. And the final product is not anymore a brick of a book, but a living project at a particular well-defined stage of its development. To put it in a simple language, a project in humanities with some IT implication is a tree lovingly grown from a seed, and as soon as the team obtains the fruits, that is printed books and articles, it chops down the whole tree, that is IT and locally developed software. The change would consist in growing continuously on the same tree various fruits and preserving and valorizing every stage of development in humanities project, including the IT and not just printed book. This very philosophy has naturally grown within NIE-INE and thus within inseri, in which the IT solutions and database, of course, are reused. Each research project contributes also to the IT development by providing the questions and the problems and commenting upon the proposed solutions. As it's evident from this model of data flow, so here we have the import level, some generic application, and then customization, and the projects can decide if they use or they don't use inseri or semantic web or use only part of it, etc. It's really free. So the final product in this sort of understanding would include almost all parts of the tree, beginning to end, and not just published on paper fruits. And suppose even if the project is finished, but the tree continues to exist, it would be really easy to upgrade the project in future. Outside of such a framework, hidden on some esoteric server, the project data is as good as non-existent, and they do not contribute in any way to the development of a given discipline. So could inseri really bring a new academic paradigm? I believe so, actually. Because the humanities are to become truly digital, the scholars will have to learn the IT tools, and the inseri framework is the best non-invasive way to do so. Inseri allows direct reuse of the existing digital data and greatly facilitates the creation of the new resources fitting the up-to-date standards. It's the most useful existing service at the national level, and I believe it has huge international academic impact. It will have, actually. It is an example of living long-term IT support, which is the only guarantee that the project can live, be used and reused, updated and upgraded in real time. Inseri becomes a place to teach digital humanities project practical IT applications so that they can make educated choices for software, and it can also be used as a sandbox for trying out various applications with real research material. We're coming slowly to my last slides. So here is an example of workflow within inseri. It reflects the state of October 2020, and it represents inseri. So let's say this part with an option to implement semantic web technology. This is the whole process in blue. I thank very much Hans Kuhl for helping me to represent semantic web technology procedure in more or less correct way. So I hope this is a good final version here. So what is important to say is that inseri can incorporate not only edition projects. So this schema has been made for editorial project to represent them the best because this is the strongest part of inseri so far, but it can be applied to virtually any discipline. Only minimal details and interconnections are given here for the sake of visibility. The full lines represent working connections from, let's say, philosophical point of view. And incomplete lines such as here, these are still the things that are being developed. On the left, in the column step, you have the steps concerning virtually every research project. I make it bigger so it becomes more clear. For example, you collect data, you administer your project, you enrich your data, etc. And here in the column content, you have precise steps that every scholar makes while doing the project. So for clarity here again, between enrichment and analysis, the editorial process is represented, which is conceived as a number of enriching and correcting rounds in between these two super steps. And it reflects the best developed part within NIE-INE and within inseri. Now the steps here are conceived as following each other from up to down, and each step becomes an input for the next step, with some, of course, corrections. So let me just do it like this. Here, the whole central column, which may include semantic web technology as an option, this would be the new output of the project. And it constitutes not only of just text modifications that we would see in the usual procedure, but also it provokes new application developments, new scripts to switch data, to transform data from one format to another, and the whole semantic web technology development if integrated. Now, let me just quickly demonstrate the following thing. So if we compare the output here, for example, we have an edition project with little or no IT. So this white framed thing would be usual edition project output, which would probably finish with published book or an ebook, but might not include an interactive web page. With inseri, the whole IT development part would include, you would have better data control and more questions answered. You would have access to dynamic visualizations, as we see here, and your web page would be more interactive. However, only if you include semantic web on the top of it, you would have the real link to the linked data, which is barely visible here. How come? Let me say a few words on this. The general ontologies that are being developed by W3C are supposed to include what people actually doing in humanities, let's say. But this link is really not evident. So if the project does not incorporate semantic web technology, then the output of the project have no link at all whatsoever to these general ontologies. If project implements semantic web technology, then the ontology, the final ontology of the project, which is one of the outcome, might influence these general ontologies that are being created. And finally, last but not least, with inseri implementation, we have a great use case for teaching the IT in humanities. If you have any questions, you are most welcome. Thank you very much for your attention.